is going on, guys? Horace the Owl with the medic video. Prepare yourselves for 41 minutes of me talking about the medic. It is the last one, so I only thought it fitting to add a little bit extra time to it. And it turned out to be almost 3 times as much. But I hope you guys will enjoy it just as much as I did. Now, let's go with what I believe you should set your medic up for when preparing, considering his different meta guns. It's really difficult to choose. You know, what is the best thing to do with medic? Well, if you're willing to be patient with it, then the stock meta gun is a good thing to go with, because that is by far the most powerful one you can use. It makes you invulnerable to 90% of the types of damage you'll run into. The only thing it does not protect you against is environmental death and telefrags. Telefrags, I'm sure you probably know what that is. If not, I'll probably explain that some other time. But essentially, telefrags is an instant kill. It doesn't do damage, it's just an instant kill, just like an environmental kill. And that's why invulnerability does not protect you against it. Your heart just stops. Now, if you want to take crits, you want to be a lot more cautious, even when deploying the Uber. Actually, taking anything other than the stock meta gun, you want to be extremely careful, because you charge faster, but now you're not invulnerable, and neither is your target, and you gotta rely on your target to know exactly what's going on as well as you. This also brings me to the Vaccinator. Is the Vaccinator any good? Well, that depends on if you have the ability to switch between the 3 different types, like on demand. Like, you need to be able to hit the bound key, use the standard is reload key to switch between explosive bullet and fire damage. If you can switch between them rapidly and you know exactly what you need at what situation, then you'll be a really good Vaccinator medic. You can actually be probably more powerful than any of the other 3 if you're really good at that, because you can keep yourself really healed while you're Uber charging, and you don't actually need a full charge in order to use it. Now, Quick Fix is good for a lot of different things. As for, well, let's just consider, like, the Quick Fix is only really good for healing a lot of people at once, but then again, your metagun shouldn't just be focused on one guy anyway. But the Quick Fix is probably better suited for healing a lot more people, and I found in a desperate situation is when you should use the Uber, because it's a lot of healing, but like maybe in a push to take out a sentry gun, because it eliminates the threat of sentry push, so it doesn't push you away. But that would still make it difficult to get close to it, because 300% healing doesn't mean anything, and you can't be close to it. It is also good if you want to use Scout to run to the front lines, but you don't want to stay on him. Like I said, there is no real pocketing anybody unless they're the ones going for a push with you, because a Quick Fix is good for healing people a little bit more rapidly. And since it's not really good for overhealing quickly, you're better off healing multiple wounded allies. If everyone's got a decent amount of health, then sure, yeah, go ahead and pick one guy and try and build up on him. But if at any given time anyone is below, if you can see a good amount of empty health space over their heads, then you should probably heal them. And right there, you saw backstab. That brings me to what I found myself to be good at when I'm playing with medic. Now, I can say that I'm actually really good as medic when I do play with a half-decent team. When you're playing mech, at least when I play mech, you're moving around a lot, even when you're tethering your pocket with the stock mega gun. You keep moving because you don't want to get hit. You don't want your pocket to have to worry about you too much, so you keep moving so spies can't get you as easily and snipers can't get you as easily. And it also makes you a hard target to pin down at all, so nobody can really shoot you. That, like, it would take a really good spread gun, scatter gun, or shotgun to hit you if you're moving so much. Now, this also does make you good for spotting spies, because because you're looking for, you're either looking for a heal target, or you're on your heal target and you're healing him and you're moving around. Because you're moving so much, since your medigun basically does the work for you, you don't need to pay attention to the front lines. This allows you to look around and see if there's anyone threatening. You're a better spy sniffer than engineer is, or pyro is, because you don't have to focus on other people as much. You only ever pull out a lethal weapon when you need to defend yourself. Otherwise, you're holding that medigun and you're healing everybody so that your teammates can last long enough. And because of that, you can look and see if there's a spy coming to threaten them. In this case, you'd be doing your job and, you know, either calling a spy out or attempting to engage him. Either way, you're preserving your teammates, which is what medic is meant to do. So, let's say there's a sniper, and you can't do anything about snipers as much, unless he's close by. But let's just say this is a far-off sniper. Well, you're better off staying out of his visual radar. If he finds you, you're probably going to be his primary target. As for your snipers, like I just did there, most of the time I find my snipers aren't missing that much health, but even if they do have full health, I'll give them over heals so that they don't die as easily, you know, if you want to get headshots. You may notice I did kind of find my pocket to be a demo man, and I also want to point out that throughout this entire game, no matter what happens, I know my pocket, and that's like a really like good, like that's a sign of a good medic is when you know your pocket better than anybody else. It's like, it's kind of like, it's beyond just being a partnership to be a pocket pair. And I don't want to say you're like lovers or anything, but like it's at that level where you know how your pocket behaves because you're following them just enough. Like I don't stick with him if I don't have to. If somebody's dying and my pocket's not, because he's overhealed or whatever, then I will drop my pocket and I will go and heal other people because that's a good medic. You don't jam your medigun up your pocket's butt 24/7. You heal everybody else to make sure they're good, and then if everyone else is good, go ahead, grab your pocket. I mean, that's given that you're playing with the correct medigun for pocketing. So, let me talk about the other weapons that you can take as medic. Now, for me, the stock syringe gun is a better idea, like for me. I mean, the Blitzsauger, that's really combat medic-esque. And, I mean, I've attempted combat medic, but it didn't really work out, because I kept going back to my medic and healing people. It's just, some people have that combat medic instinct to just use the Blitzsauger and the Ubersaw, and only ever use the medigun to defend themselves, so they can just pull up their Uber charge and keep themselves from dying. Switch back, hit them with the Ubersaw, switch back to your Uber, and just mirror infinite chain. But for me, I use the amputator, because if I'm in a combat situation, I'm gonna rely on my team down, which they should. I'm the one that's healing them. I shouldn't have to defend myself unless there's nobody there. Kind of like right here, how I'm backing up and shooting the pyro with the syringe gun. That's really what any of the syringe guns are good for, besides the crossbow. For the amputator, I use it for when I'm running away. If I'm at low health and I need to get into cover, I'll pull it out so I heal quicker so I can last longer trying to get into cover. Now, usually, and you might see me do it once or twice around here, I will pull the saw out while I'm dying, and I will taunt with it just to make sure that if anyone near me is dying, they'll get healed, and, you know... Weird thing is, that actually counts as, it actually does count as being tethered to people with a medigun, so if you get hit with a third degree, or if any of them gets hit with a third degree, you get hit, and so does everybody else. And apparently it's also possible that if you shoot someone with a Crusader's crossbow, you heal a teammate like that. In that split second that you heal them, if you get hit with a third degree, it actually counts. So you can actually kill a medic from like across the map because he healed his target with a crossbow, and you hit the target with the third degree. But enough about the third degree. Now, there's also, besides just running around and just not moving, if it's a safe place, you can do what I'm doing and stick near somebody, just to be that observer. Because like medic's not really, he's not meant to be that up close and personal with people. He's only meant to make sure everyone's alive. And again, this is just how I play. Like this isn't like, you know, you have to play like this. This is mostly like, this is how I found medic is good. You know, this is how my medic plays. What was I gonna say? Oh, the Uber Saw. Like I said, for me, that's not like maybe MVM because Sentry Busters are a good source of Uber when you use the Uber Saw on them. Other than that, I don't really use the Uber Saw. It's too slow. There's no real point to it to me. It swings so slow, and I mean, there is the whole, you know, is it worth it, is it not worth it kind of thing. Like if you don't have any Uber and you want to get up close to somebody to try and get Uber off of them, then yeah, go ahead and do it. But if you have some Uber, see like right there, I pulled out the saw trying it. But if you do have some Uber, it's probably not worth it because you can probably just heal people to get up. And right here, I'm dying, standing next to Spencer and Tom. But God, I don't even know if I captured that instance. But it was a great example of knowing your pocket. Is the demo man? I saw him and like you might not be able to tell yourselves, but I mean like you have to be a medic to tell, as it's a lot more obvious when you're a medic and that's your pocket. But to me, he was acting kind of funny, and like it was like it didn't even take 2 seconds to sniff him out to be acting funny. So I just pulled out my syringe gun and I went for it. And I think he swung his knife a little early, and he ended up butter knifing. And you know, he was a spy. I sniffed him out because I know my pocket better than anybody else. It's really hard to play someone's pocket. Now, I've also found that playing offensive medic is only slightly different for me than defensive medic. When you're playing offensive medic, you probably stand a little bit closer to the front lines because everyone is trying to make it to the cart. You also, well, I found I don't really touch the cart as often, which is kind of bad, but at the same time it keeps me alive, because if I'm trying to hug a cart, I'm a lot bigger of a target, because I'm not moving as much as I want to. So I'll probably get near it and like give it a little boost of, you know, me as an extra force to push with it. Other than that, I just kind of keep squirming. That's all I can call it, is when I play medic, I squirm when I'm standing on my heal target. You also find it a lot more comforting to play with someone specific. Like if you find that one guy that like he can defend his medic half decently, but he doesn't really require the medic. Like that's a good combination. It's like if the medic chooses to heal somebody like that as a pocket, that's actually a pretty good combo, because he doesn't need the medic, but he's getting the help from him, and he's capable of defending the medic. Like that's a really good player in my opinion. There's one more thing I wanted to say. Oh, other medics. Like I rarely see when like even if it's not just me, I'll hardly ever see two medics trying to give each other like overheal, which would be good, because I mean, if you have two medics, everyone can have overheal even the medic, which is like, why would you not do that? Oh, and also I like to think that if there's no good opportunity on defense to use the Uber, it might be to save allies for burning. You probably saw me do it back there, and I actually do it during offense on, what was it? I don't remember what the map was called, but I think, was it Gold Rush? I don't know, I can't remember. But, basically we were pushing it towards the final objective, and then a pyro came through and set everybody on fire. So I deployed my Uber and I started healing everybody to give them Uber, and that makes them fireproof. They instantly get extinguished. Like, basically, you can use your Uber for more than just a push. You can use it for it's for emergencies. Like, you label your Ubers as for emergencies only when you're on defense. Or, let's say the offensive team somehow gets a nest up that's giving you trouble, so you can't really keep them away from the cart because their sentry nest is keeping you off. In which case, that's kind of an emergency. You know, you should be labeling your Ubers on defense as for emergencies only. As for offense, mostly for pushes, but if it's an emergency, obviously you're going to use it. But, I guess you could say, yeah, in the general sense, whenever you're a medic and you have Uber, it is for emergencies. Never, ever just deploy your Uber because it looks like you can use it. For me, prioritize almost dead people. Like, it's kind of a status, the status of your teammates. If the guy is, like, bleeding and he's got low health, heal him until he's not bleeding, and then give him a little bit of health so he's not almost dead and he can survive long enough to find a health pack. Basically, when you're playing like I do and you're jumping around your team trying to make sure everyone has overheal and or health, you kind of just focus on making sure they can make it to a health pack if necessary. I seem to always prioritize flaming targets over half-dying targets, because the person that's on fire is probably going to be half dead anyway in a second. So, you know, what's a better way to make sure your team's alive longer than making sure there's no status effects on your teammates, you know? Versus burning target weapons are really, really a pain in the ass. Unless there's a medic keeping the person from being on fire too long.
Ends in 30 seconds.
Which does kind of eliminate the point of, like, using certain weapons that are, like, versus burning fire. But, you know, that's just being a good medic, you know? Making sure your team has the most advantages as possible. That's where medic's power comes from. And actually, like, yeah, never mind, it wasn't. I thought maybe right there I deployed my over to save team. A couple of them were on fire. Turned out me and the other medic just healed the other two burning targets. Also, you might wonder, like, why do I use my Uber right when the round ends? Well, I have a strange medic gun, and it only counts as deployed Uber if I deploy it on somebody. Like, even if I deploy it and then, like, grab somebody afterwards. So I just try and, like, get that quick extra. I also want to mention, like, I just love Medic's personality. Like, his responses are funny. You know, would you like a second opinion? You are also ugly. That's just funny. And I don't think we brought enough body bags. I healed the man who will kill you. Oh, and this is right here. If you find that you don't build Uber quickly because you're overhealing your allies during setup, and you're just not building it quick enough before the round starts, find an explosives guy. More than likely, you should find yourself a soldier, but Pyro and Demoman have the potential to do it too. Just have them hurt themselves, because you do build Uber faster off of people that are missing health. Overheal is a lot slower, and once they do max out on overheal, it gets even slower than that. You can see me here looking for my pocket. Didn't see him anywhere, so I decided to stay back and wait. Then I saw him go out, and I'm just like, you know what? It's go out there. And by the way, yes, my pocket did switch to soldier, and that right there, that situation right there, where me and another medic face off with our pockets. Well, in that kind of situation, people kind of wonder, like, should I deploy the Uber now and save my target, or should I deploy it a little bit later? Well, you want to focus on what the other medic's doing. If he's not really paying attention as much, or he just has too much confidence in his pocket, he'll deploy the Uber early. In which case, you have the advantage, and you can deploy it, let's say, 2 or 3 seconds after he does. That way, you have 2 or 3 seconds longer to be Ubered after his wears off, and you can kill the medic and pocket because you're still Ubered. You should also pick your medigun based on what the other medics have if there are any medics. If they're picking stock mediguns, you need to go stock medigun too, because there's no other way to counter an Uber person than with more Uber. Just deploy after they do, that way you can still be Ubered and eliminate them. If it's a crits, actually, you know what? Stock Uber trumps all. Stock Uber will always trump all because of the fact that you're invulnerable, and all the other mediguns don't make you invulnerable. I do think the crits is the only one that has... that's probably the weakest one out of all of them, considering target durability. You and your target aren't going to last as long because you don't have any extra added benefit besides your target gets crits, and you don't even get crits out of that. Like, you don't benefit out of that except your target gets crits. The quick fix makes you both heal 300% when charged. And see, right there, I was like hoping to God that I got Uber, and then I finally got it, deployed it, and now we can't push the cart, so now somebody else has to push the cart. Eventually I ran out of Uber, and you saw right there I was acting kind of dumb, like I started charging the soldier when he was trying to push the cart, and luckily it wore off last second, but me and him pushed the cart to victory. But yeah, medic, if you... I'm not a huge fan of it, but if you've ever played like D&D or something like that, it's the controller class. Alright, the controller class? I don't fucking know. I don't play D&D. But it's basically a class that sits behind everybody else and gives heals and buffs and that kind of thing. And that's essentially what medic is. He can fight if he has to, but he isn't equipped to fight a lot of people. Never really. And you should focus on calling stuff out to people, that way they know, just being the team advisor as well as the team healer. Because you don't need to focus, you don't need to focus on actually killing an individual person. You can focus on, hey, this dude's giving us trouble, let's handle him instead. And you can divert forces and stuff. You're kind of your team mom and team captain. Yeah, I just want to, I called spy there because there's always a spy hiding at this door. And just watch this right here. Like, I'm healing a dude, and he hits the ground after getting juggled with a rocket, and he gets a freaking headshot. I'm like, that's amazing. But I do want to just mention one more time. You probably will notice that I don't follow my pocket around the whole time. In fact, I'll probably find somewhere safe to sit as friendlies run by and give them overheal. That way everyone can have some extra health. And eventually I go back and find my pocket, like right now. Just running around, looking for a spy. Saw me, I started healing him. Me and him headed out. I deployed my Uber just in time. That medic had by him, and his pocket died. Stock medigun master race, everybody. How long am I even going? Oh, wow, about 25 minutes. We still got more than half a video over. You'll also find me more on my screen than a spy check. It's because, like I said in the spy video, generally spies, when they get shot, they'll react and they'll retaliate, which is a bad idea because that gives you up. But I mean, it's kind of instinct, and then like right there you see, like I wanted to just heal one of the snipers, and I was like, I don't know who's who, and then the one that I healed happened to bump into me, and I'm like, well shit, and I switched weapons. He didn't get that much overheal, and he ended up dying anyway. That's why you need to know your pocket, but you also need to know how your team's going to behave. So if you see two of the same person, I wouldn't heal either of them until one of them attacks the other. In which case you'll know who's who, because if whichever one attacks, you know, they'll either actually attack with their weapon or they'll turn into a spy. Either way, you know who the spy is, depending on who attacks first. There's a general idea that when medic Ubers, he should take the blunt of the fire so that his target can get a better aim. Well, I seem to get pushed around a little bit too much, so I find that difficult to stand in front of my target, so I choose not to. Stand behind him so I can keep him healed. And I rarely get hit with the old pyro air blasting trick to render Uber useless, and it's probably because I always pick targets that don't really get affected that much by getting air blasted. If it was like a heavy and he flies in the air, you can't do too much about it unless he already has miniguns spun up. If it's like another pyro, I mean, he can't set the other pyro on fire and he's probably going to get knocked out of range. As for Soldier and Demo Man, their explosives could get knocked away, but that honestly depends on whether or not the pyro can keep me and my pocket juggled in the air, which can end up being difficult because holding two people in an air blast is hard, because if they go in two different directions, you gotta be able to grab both of them with quick air blasts. That actually brings me to how to defend these air blasts. You know, because it's really annoying when you get hit as a medic, you're just getting air blasted. Like, he doesn't even find it necessary to try and kill you. He's just pushing you away so that you can't kill your friend. Well, the way I've found it is, pull out the syringe gun, because the syringes count as bullets. So, like, really heavy, slow-traveling bullets. So they don't get deflected like the crossbow bolt does. So, generally, it's really easy to hit people with it because it's got a decent spread on it. And when I say decent, I don't mean it's tight clustered, I mean it's like, it's all over the fucking place. So if the pyro's knocking you around, you can just kind of aim in his general direction, and the syringes will, I want to say 8.5 out of 10 times will hit pyro enough times to where he either decides to try and kill you, which makes it easier if you get to the ground and blast him in the face with the syringe gun, or he'll give up entirely and run away looking for his medic or a med kit. Actually, right here, this is a crits create medic versus the stock medic. Guy's got crits. What's it gonna do against a guy who's vulnerable? Stock medic and master race, everybody. May not have 25% extra charge speed, but it does happen to be the best Uber effect, in my opinion. Actually, it was here. It was on the same map, but we just made it to the next area. It's around here where I use my Uber in an emergency to make sure nobody was on fire. Which, to me, like, I really don't like to brag and shit, but that was freaking amazing of me to just be like, you know what, everyone's on fire. This is an emergency. Uber the fuck out of everybody. And sure, that shortened my 8 seconds of Uber charge by a lot because I'm jumping between targets a lot. But, I mean, hey, that just means nobody's on fire. Like, not even me, because I'm constantly Ubered. Those guys have, like, a second or a half second of Uber even after I untether from them. And generally, it's just really, it was a good reaction idea on my part. And right here, I'm like helping this medic because he's going crossbow, and I'm just like, this motherfucker's gonna die. So me and him just started pushing the cart. It was really good medic teamwork. It just goes to show, like, it might be annoying, but medic pairs can be pretty good at whatever they happen to be doing, even if it's not healing other people. That actually does remind me, like, if there are two medics healing a single target, if you're one of those medics, consider not staying on their prayer area. There we go. See, jump between targets. Nobody's on fire. In case of emergency. Lost the Uber, but you know what? We're almost there anyway. I can build it all back up before we make it to the very end of it. So yeah, if you're one of the medics healing a single target, consider not healing the same target. Like, if one of you jumps off, then go ahead and stay, but like, there should only ever really be one medic per heal target, unless they're dying, like, oh my god, like, it needs to be, like, really, really bad circumstances for the guy that's getting both medic guns for him to be healed both medic guns. If it's not that serious, or if he's, like, over-healed and everything, just leave it. It's unnecessary. 10 minutes. I find myself healing the generic, you know, classes. I'll heal a heavy, but I won't follow him around as much unless I know he's extraordinarily good. Other than that, I pick the higher damage output classes. Because heavy, in my opinion, he's not as high a damage output, and it can be another medic's problem. Everybody else is, like I said, I jump between my entire team to make sure they have overheal whenever I can, or just make sure they don't die as quickly. But other than that, I normally pick my offensive explosive guys. Generally, I don't pick Pyro unless the Pyro is like, again, between Heavy and Pyro, they both have to be like exceptionally good at whatever they are doing. Other than that, I pick Soldier and Demo Man because they're damage output classes. One's slower than the other, but you know, you gotta pick who's doing better. Honestly, as for the support classes, the Sniper hardly ever gets overhealed for me, but like it depends, like if the situation allows me to heal him, because like generally he's kind of out of the way anyway, so it's kind of a bother for me to jump off of the rest of the team just to give him overheal. Spy, even less than Sniper, because Spy, I can almost, unless he's undisguised, I don't know if he's mine or not. And I don't want to really waste my time spy checking him. So, unless I know that he is mine, I probably won't heal him at all. And you'll probably see around here, there's two spies. Once we make it to the first checkpoint, there's two spies, and everyone ends up kind of moving forward, and both of those spies, you know, are like, hey, come on, heal me, but they're not disguised, so I'm just like, okay. So I heal them both, and everyone moves on happy. It's kind of circumstances between those two support classes. As for medics, because I'm going to be in the same basic area as the other medic, if he's dying, it's just like everybody else, only I would prioritize the medic over everybody else. Like, let's say my entire team is freaking dying and I got Ubercharge, I will prioritize the other medic, that way he can heal other people too. I can Ubercharge and heal him, that way he gets a couple of seconds of vulnerability to heal somebody else, and then I'll jump to somebody once he's got enough health, and it's kind of a ripple effect. Once I start healing that medic, he'll heal somebody else, and we'll just keep going. But that's granted if that medic decides he wants to heal and not go combat. Here I am sitting in a corner healing people that are close by. This is mostly because you can see my dead body right there. We got backstabbed because the spy decided to bypass everybody else and just stab me to death. But probably because I'm becoming a real nuisance. I'm not really sure because I can't see it from this tiny screen that I'm seeing as I create this video, but I'm pretty sure I was MVP. I was in the MVP list a couple of times, and that's because I was getting a bunch of assists and Ubercharging people, and that's the power of medic. Like, if you're a good medic, you'll probably be on the MVP list. You just gotta know who to heal at the right times. I mean, that's not saying that if there's a good guy, then start healing him strictly, but right there, sniffed out a spy, didn't really give two fucks about anything else besides healing people and making sure that spy was not getting in the way. Where'd it go? Yeah, see, right there. It kind of faded out right there, so I did capture it, but but you may or may not have seen it. Like right back there, as it faded, it transitions to up here. That spy, I engaged him because that wasn't my pocket. Like I can tell who my pocket is. He doesn't go running up to other teammates. He'll focus on fighting. He doesn't do anything that leads him towards somebody unless he's focused on shooting somebody past him. And at that moment, I was just like, yeah, that's not my pocket. Oh, I do seem to like I take pity on engineers that are like trapped in corners and stuff. Like they're doing their damnedest, but it's like you can tell they're probably gonna die. So I usually end up trying to give him some overheal so he can get out of that situation. You know, grab whatever building is more important to him and get the fuck out. And right here, this is why you pick a good pocket and you commit to it. Because you'll eventually run into a sentry gun that you gotta take out as soon as possible. That is but yeah, engineer should prioritize whatever building is more important to him and keeping whatever playstyle he's going for up. So like when I heal him, he'll grab that specific building and we'll get him out of that spot and find a place for him to set up. You know what? I have to say, like, there's a lot of times where like people will say medics shouldn't really bother with scouts. It's like that's not true for me. Like honestly, I think scout is categorized in the same pool as sniper and spy. It hardly ever happens, but that's only because they're a little bit more out of the way and the circumstances just don't allow it. Like right here, this is what I was talking about with spies. I heal them. I think I'm running out of time. Got about 4 minutes to go. Yeah, play. Words. Medic needs to be played very. You need to know exactly what you need to do as a medic. Like it goes way beyond the stuff you give him. It goes into exactly how you move as a medic, who you pick as a target, exactly what you're willing to put up with, and what you're willing to actually do for your team, and that will dictate whether you're a good medic or not. And I find it comes a little bit more naturally, but I'm gonna start wrapping it up. There is a short. It'll come up in a second, but there's a short slow-mo I did of me taking out a spy because I knew that was a spy. Me and my pocket teamed up on him. Once it comes up, I will end it because that is where I wanted to end it. And as I recall, we generally won in these games, and like that's. Like I said, I really wanted to find good gameplay for these videos, and like Medic just happened to be perfect when I went to go play for him, and that's part of the reason why it was such a long video. And I do have to say, anyone who does happen to watch this entire thing, thank you. I know it must have been ungodly to even consider watching me play this and listen to me talk, and you know, just again, thank you for enjoying it with me, you know. I have to say that I want to say I main medic, but like in the sense that if it's a good opportunity and there isn't another good medic, then I will definitely go for medic. Like, I look for good opportunities to play medic. Other than that, I'll pick whatever class is gonna work best. I think yeah, I'm gonna close. See right there. I knew we didn't have a pyro before, so I. Yeah, right about here is where I plan on ending it, guys. This has been Horse the Owl, doing the TF2 classes and how I play with them and how I find them useful. Here it is, me taking out that spy. I do appreciate all support, and anyone who watches these, thank you for putting up with me. See, I'm gonna whip, yeah, right there, I whip over to my target. And I still ended up taking him out, I always, like, I feel like I'm competing with whoever else is going after the spy to kill him, and then, like, I finally kill him, I'm like, yeah, point for me. But, hoodoo, guys, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Eins, zwei, drei. I do not think we bought enough body bags.
Many thanks!
You were good, son, real good. Maybe even the best.
First rate!
Why is the cart moving backwards?
Hop, hop, hop!